A win is a win is a win. What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back in to another video, and today we are going to be talking about the Giants getting their first win of the 2020 NFL season. Today has just been a good day in general. The Giants get their first win. Had a pretty decent day at work, even though I wasn't able to watch the game because, sorry about that, guys. I'm not able to stream the game probably the rest of the year just because I'm going to be working on Sundays from now on. It sucks, but had a good day at work. The Giants get a win. I think I won in all three of my fantasy leagues handedly, and everything's great. Everything is great so far today, but this was not a good game for the New York Giants. I am not that impressed with this game, but a win is a win. That's the only reason why we should all be celebrating, but there are a lot of things to really digest and go over right now, and I have a whole list of those because I have NFL Game Pass, watched the whole game from beginning to end, and here are my notes. First thing I noticed is that Matt Parrott was starting at left tackle. He got the start at left tackle, but I think they are experimenting with Matt Parrott, as we've seen a couple of weeks ago. We've seen Cam Fleming be benched for Matt Parrott as he gets some reps at right tackle. They are really, you can tell, they are really intrigued by Matt Parrott, and they really want to figure out where is his best fit. Is Andrew Thomas better at right tackle and slide Matt Parrott at left? Let me tell you, Matt Parrott played fine at left tackle. Now, do I want him at left tackle? No, I want him at right tackle. But I want Andrew Thomas to play better. But Andrew Thomas needs to pick it up. And we'll get into Andrew Thomas later on today, as he was a cause of a good play for Washington. And we'll get into that later. But the first thing I noticed was Matt Parrott was starting. I was able to listen to the game on the radio, so I already knew before I watched the game. I just wanted to see how Matt Parrott played, and he played well. Now, the first drive started off strong. We had that rollout to Evan Ingram, and it seems like they like to get Evan Ingram started off early, and then he dwindles off the rest of the game. So they started off with Evan Ingram on the rollout, and it looked well. And then, obviously, Deontay Freeman was able to run strong and make a lot of guys miss. But when it comes to the red zone, the Giants, especially Daniel Jones, just really, really looks off. Their offense doesn't look like they run the right way. It looks like they need space, and without that space, they're not able to work around, and they're not able to get creative in their routes and create separation, and it leaves a lot left to be desired when they are in the red zone, and so they dwindle off. Obviously, that third down play when it comes to Daniel Jones is failed at pocket presence, and he was eventually sacked. Daniel Jones' pocket presence, I've said this so many other times, especially in this year, it seems like Daniel Jones really has too much focus downfield, too much focus on his receivers trying to get open, stares him down too long, therefore they're not getting open anyway, and he just stays in place, is not able to extend the play, and gets sacked. Far too many times we've seen that from Daniel Jones. He needs to work on the pocket presence and not staring down his receivers, going through his reads, and when nothing's there, you got to flush out the pocket and use your legs. Next up, the Slayton touchdown was absolutely amazing. The way that Daniel Jones, I think it was pretty much off his back foot, he was able to throw that ball, pretty much right at the corner of the end zone. Darius Slayton makes a fantastic over-the-shoulder catch, but then hurts his ankle. By the way, the Giants run into this game with 4 wide receivers on the active roster, and they lose 2 of their receivers, CJ Board and Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton comes back just because they need him that bad, but Darius Slayton seems to have a bad ankle injury, as in both of his catches, he only had 2 catches for 41 yards. Both of his catches resulted in him very slow to respond and get up. The first catch, he went into the stands or whatever. I forgot what the hallway of the stadium, because he was hurting on his ankle after he caught the touchdown. Then later on in the game, he made a fantastic catch over the middle to help move down the field, and he was slow to get up on that one as well, and then he came out the game. So Darius Slayton is struggling with injury right now, and the Giants really need to figure something out. They need to have at least 5 receivers on this roster. I wanted 6, but can we just get 5? Can we get 5? Because if we lose 1 and we have 4, then we're only down to 3. So we have to have some safety for the wide receivers. Next, I'm going kind of in order here based on my notes. Next, the Leonard Williams. And as far as the whole pass rush is concerned, Kyler Fackrell had a very good day, especially out in coverage. He almost had an interception late in the game, and Kyler Fackrell also had a very good strip sack as well. He had a fantastic game. Leonard Williams had a fantastic game. He could have been used more later on, but he had a fantastic first half of the game, forcing pressure, and Leonard Williams was able to get Kyle Allen in open space, which made no sense. Kyle Allen, pulled a Daniel Jones and had no pocket awareness whatsoever. Leonard Williams was able to get the open field sack, and he now totals 3 sacks on the season, having a fantastic year so far. We then move on to Daniel Jones on offense, and this was something that has been set up all game leading up to this point. They were running this read option, and Washington was constantly biting on Devontae Freeman, and so I think Daniel Jones took it upon himself. Even the cameraman was fooled. Devontae Freeman was tackled about 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and you see Daniel Jones 30 yards downfield by the time the cameraman is able to get there. So almost a 50-yard run for Daniel Jones, as the Giants were not able to do anything with that. As later on, this is something I really have a problem with. So it's first down, and the Giants struggled to get into the end zone. Daniel Jones was able to use his legs on third down and get on a designed run. I loved that call. That was a fantastic call, but they only had one blocker out there. It was Nick Gates out there to help on the designed run. I would have loved if they brought out, if the running back went with them, if you had Eli Penny in there as a third, as a tight end, and I had him block and there as a lead blocker. Get more creative in the play calling. I didn't like how that was just Nick Gates. If Daniel Jones had another blocker in there, he would have been in there for the touchdown. And I really hate how Joe Judge lacked the confidence in the offense to kick a field goal from about the 3-yard line. I was absolutely in awe when I was listening to it on the radio. I just wanted us to go for it. I know the probability wasn't probably there because we have the worst red zone offense in the league, but I'm pretty sure if Daniel Jones from the gun took another designed run, he would get in there, or something in the flats, or a rollout, as we've been very successful at so far this season. The rollouts with Evan Ingram, and maybe even hit the backside to Caden Smith if he was able to get there. Get creative, and I didn't like how how Joe Judge elected to take a field goal instead of a fourth down attempt. I really didn't like that at all, and that shows lack of confidence from our rookie head coach. I want to highlight a player, and that was Logan Ryan. Now, Logan Ryan had some inconsistencies in this game, but for the most part was probably one of the best players on the defense. Had himself a sack. Logan Ryan is second behind Jamal Adams in safety sacks so far in his career, I believe, since they've gotten the league. But Logan Ryan is one of the most effective blitzers from a defensive back position, whether he's lining up at corner or safety. He's one of the most effective blitzers out there. You've seen that throughout the game. He was able to get home and get a sack on Kyle Allen. Did a very good job there. And we'll get to some more notes. I want to give a huge shout out to Patrick Graham. We'll save that to the end. Now, here's a play I really want to talk about, and that is halftime, where the Washington football team gets the ball back with 1:11 to go. By the way, the penalty, uncalled for, ridiculous penalty, running into the kicker. And even though we were down at the half-yard line, I would have taken it because Riverboat Ron, everybody knows Ron Rivera. He's a defensive head coach, but he doesn't care. He has the confidence in his offense, whether it's Carolina or Washington, to go for it. That's what they call him, Riverboat Ron. You just go with the flow with Ron Rivera. He is a guy that loves to go for it on fourth down. He already pulled off a fourth down conversion early on in the game. He tries it again, and this what really just grinded my gears, man. I'm telling you, it grinded my gears. So we have the penalty, right? And then about midfield or so, they decide to go for it. And here, I'm like, the Giants need to shut the confidence down. in Ron Rivera's game and make him scared to go for it on 4th down for the rest of the game and punish him for getting cocky enough to go for it when you could have just negated the call and had the ball down at the half-yard line. Instead, they go for it on 4th down. The Giants were forcing pressure all game, but in this particular play, they allowed Kyle Allen to run all over the place, create time, and find an open man for a 1st down, and then they move down the field and get their first touchdown of the game with about 11 or so seconds left to go in the game. That Logan Thomas touchdown, Julian Love didn't get his head around, and Julian Love is not playing well, by the way, but Julian Love not able to get his head around and allowing the touchdown, and the Giants allow a score by halftime. By the way, every single game this season, all 6 games, they have allowed their opponents, the Giants defense, have allowed their opponents to score on the final possession before half. That is not a good stat. And Bob Papa, I was listening on the Giants radio, WFAN radio, Bob Papa said it, they are playing 0-5 football. The New York Giants are playing 0-5 football because they are not effective in the red zone. When it comes to the Giants defense in the red zone, they allow too many scores. When it comes to the Giants offense in the red zone, they don't score enough. And instead, they leave points off the board. So that's a quote that I really loved from Bob Papa that made a lot of sense. They're just playing 0-5 football. This is a 0-5 football team. So that being said, we move on to the 3rd quarter, and the Giants on their first possession are moving the ball down the field. They get ball at half, and they're moving the ball down the field. They wound up being, at like a 3rd and 1 around midfield, and Andrew Thomas completely lets Montez Sweat off the leash, just doormans it like Nick Gates at Nebraska. Just doormans it, say, here you go, Montez Sweat, go ahead and run. Devontae Freeman takes a handoff to the right side, and Montez Sweat is able to come off the left side, beat Andrew Thomas, and have enough time to get to Devontae Freeman before Devontae Freeman reaches 1 yard to convert the 1st down. That's how bad Andrew Thomas got beat, and I'm not letting him off the hook for that. You guys know I'm pretty much an Andrew Thomas apologist, but that is not a good look for Andrew Thomas. That was a terrible play there. And then after that, in the next drive, Matt Parrott comes back in. So you can tell that they are really intrigued enough by Matt Parrott that they might bench their 1st round pick, or may even put Andrew Thomas at right tackle and Matt Parrott at left. We'll see what happens. But there is tackle controversy in New York right now. And then later on in the game, the defense saves the game as they've been trying to do all year, and Kyler Fackrell comes up with a very, very key strip sack, and then a scoop and score by Tay Crowder. By the way, Tay Crowder had 10 tackles today. Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant, had 10 tackles today. The Giants, and Carl Banks said this, the color commentator and legend linebacker for the Giants, said this, that the Giants got more production out of their linebackers today than they did all for the past 10 years. And that really speaks volumes, and that really speaks volumes to Patrick Graham, and I got to give a huge shout out to Patrick Graham and what he's been doing on this defense, and with these very young players. Now, these guys have potential, but nobody, I'm talking nobody, on YouTube thought that they would actually reach something this year. I thought this would be a rebuilding year for the defense, but it's more so the offense, but the defense is playing extremely, extremely well. But here's the one thing I did not like about the game plan today. The game plan today on defense for Patrick Graham was run those soft cover 2s. That was the bend but do not break type of mentality, and it was the whole entire game, they allowed plays up the middle. They told their linebackers, David Mayo was terrible today. They had their linebackers pull back and allow these crossers to just run right through and then stop them before they could make any yards. But the linebackers were not fast enough to even do that, so they were still allowing yards anyway. And they were allowing a lot of flat plays to get some yards, and I didn't like the game plan today. I like when the Giants are more aggressive, playing the man defense and, zoning up the middles or whatever you have to do. I loved what the Giants were doing beforehand, but they tried something different. They ran an all man. I said this in my film reviews. the Giants cannot play zone very well. They're not instinctive enough. Guys like James Bradbury is very, very good in zone coverage. You saw he was, playing a middle zone read in a cover 2 from the slot, and had that interception, almost had 2 interceptions today. He's a very good zone corner, but the rest of the guys out there are just not instinctive enough to close the gaps and, set up the right angles and do things like that. They can't run zone very well. They are a man team. So I didn't really like the game plan today, but it wound up working. They only allowed 19 offensive points. I thought they would allow less than that. I said 17 was the magic number, but it is what it is. A very, very good quote. Something I really liked by Carl Banks. I can't take credit from this, but Carl Banks said that Danny Dimes is not throwing dimes. Instead, he's giving donations. He is now Danny Donation. And you know what? That makes sense. It makes sense right now. Now, that interception, I can't believe I didn't even talk about that. That interception was not an interception. That interception was not an interception. Okay? I don't know what the officiating was in this game, but it was ridiculous. So the interception that I believe it was DeShazier Everett. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, it's Kendall Fuller. Kendall Fuller had an interception in the back of the end zone. Daniel Jones was trying to throw the ball away, and his elbow goes out of bounds, and you see the divot in there. You see the turf come up and everything, and they say the call stands. And it's there as an interception. That was not an interception. The Giants could have went down there and kicked the field goal and went up again. Another bad call was the final touchdown of the game for Washington, where they had a couple of seconds left on the clock, and pretty much garbage time. They were trying to tie up the game. Instead, they try to go for 2, and they lose there. But that was a delay of game. That was about a second or 2 into a delay of game, and the refs just allow it to happen. This has happened plenty of times, not just the Giants, but in the NFL in general. I can't fathom how many times I had to, watch a game and I see the play clock run down to 0 for a good 1 or 2 seconds. I'm like, why is there no call being made? And then the offense is allowed to have a snap. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's not fair for the defense. I'm sorry this game has gone on way too long. I apologize about that, guys, but I just went through all my notes. So that being said, guys, I had a couple quotes in there. I pretty much went through the entire game. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And let me know if you want a film review on this. I'm thinking I might do my film reviews live, but only for my members. And then I'll post the live stream or whatever. I'll post the recorded video for everyone else to see. Just have something for my members out there, just to reward them a little bit. So that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!